Joseph Mensah?
Yeah. Joseph Mensah. What about Joseph Mensah? I didn't want to talk to you about.
What happened back in August?
Yep. What can you tell me about what happened back in August? A lot of times we do things because we're told something, we're under a certain idea of something, and maybe now that you've had time to look back, maybe you can realize that some of the information may not have been presented to you appropriately, right? Or you've not gotten the full story, right? Unfortunately, that doesn't change what happened. So ultimately, that's what I wanted to chat with you about, right? We've talked to a lot of people. As a member of the People's Revolution, I know you know we've talked to a lot of people. I know you know who we've talked to. I know you know who's talked, and I know you know who said what, and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to sit here and try to BS you, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure what's up.
I'm pretty sure my statement will be in black and white. So,
well, there's a very good chance of it, sure.
Yeah.
Right. It makes you feel any better. I won't even take any notes. We'll just have a conversation. So first, I'd like to start out specifically with you and how you ended up there that night.
Y'all see me on video? Or
we'll chat.
Yeah, I know.
We'll chat
I
about all that stuff.
about it. I heard y'all see me on video.
We'll chat about all that stuff. You know how this. I know you're feeling me. It's like I'm feeling you on. And you got to understand that if I'm looking for info, the last thing I'm going to do is offer up the info that I have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, and frankly, part of it is, and it makes sense for you because, do you know what credibility means? Yeah, do you know what the term, have you heard of the term credibility before?
Not so often.
Okay, so credibility is basically the level of believability that somebody has. So for instance now, because I know People's Revolution hates cops, maybe this is a bad example, but like let's say we're raining outside right now, but you didn't know that because you're here, right? So if I just came and said, man, it's raining outside, would you believe that it's probably raining outside?
If you tell me, yeah.
Well, right, but also,
I don't know because I'm not aware because I'm inside.
But that's the whole point I'm getting at. You don't know, so you're relying on someone else's word, right? So I would be willing to bet that, one, because I'm an adult, one, because I hope, well, you think I'm not an idiot, so I'd be able to tell if it's raining or not. And two, probably because I'm a cop, so I'm not going to lie about something like that, right? So all of those things in your mind gives me credibility. It's a level of believability. If I tell you something that you're likely to believe it. You know what I mean? So the other thing that we do is when we do these talks or when we do these interviews or discussions, like I said, I know you know who's talked and what's been said and so on and so forth. So because you know what's been said, I also know what's been said. I also know it's been viewed, like you said with the video, we're going to get to that later. And the statements that we've gotten from not only the people that we've hooked up with People's Revolution, but the people that were there.
What's my name involved? That's what I was doing.
We'll get
That
there.
makes sense why I'm not fucking here now.
But the whole thing, well, no, that actually isn't why you were brought in because of today.
Yeah, I know.
And it just happened, I heard your name, I'm like, oh, I want to talk to that dude. So anyway, this keeps falling, so forgive me if I keep messing with it. But, so as it relates to, the level of believability is because I know some things are already truthful because we've determined that. When I talk to you, what I'm gauging is your level of believability. So for instance, if in our discussion, if you tell me something that I know to be true, then I'm like, all right, this dude's being honest. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden your credibility continues to go up, right? But if you tell me something that I know is to be false, like if you were to tell me I wasn't up there, what do you think that does to your credibility? Go down to nothing, right? Well, like I said, we'll talk, right? Yeah. And I can tell you, I already know your part isn't the crime of the century, right? So it's not like this is going to turn into anything significant. I'll be honest with you, a lot of it is I'm hoping that you're going to confirm what I already know. Frankly, it is really what, and we'll talk about your involvement because unfortunately, you probably could have made different decisions that night, but you know, we'll chat. So what I'm looking to do is, in order to build up that level of believability with you, I'm looking for you to tell me how you got there that night, what went down, and stuff that happened afterwards is ultimately what I'm getting at. And then we can go into specifics after that, but I'm looking to get this credibility here built up with you. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, if you could please tell me, how did you end up at Mensah's house that night?
We did a convoy.
Where did the convoy begin?
Damn. Shit. I think, the Mayfair Strip.
Okay, so then you all did a convoy. Did you make any stops before you got to Mensah's house?
Yeah.
Where's that at?
I'm not sure, but we did.
Okay. Do you know what happened at that stop before Mensah's house?
We went and talked to the rest of this guy.
Okay, yeah, I'm not so concerned about him. But okay, I appreciate that because I actually wasn't going to go on with that, but you brought that up. So yes, I know that to be truthful. So thank you for that. Y'all went to some store before you went to Mensah's house. What store did you guys go to?
Target.
What did you purchase at Target? Not necessarily you, but what did people purchase at Target?
Tissue.
What kind of tissue?
I don't know.
What? Oh, come on. All right. See, we were starting to see these. Wow, it's like Kleenex for their nose?
Oh, toilet paper.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at. Right. Toilet paper, right, okay. And why would people be buying toilet paper?
You know why.
I know why. I want you to tell me why.
I guess.
Not you guess.
No.
You were there. You saw what they were doing with it.
So went to
Right. Anyone ever toilet paper your stuff?
No.
It's a pain in the ass. Anyway, whatever. Okay, so fine, haha, you guys want to pick up some toilet paper.
Yeah. That's what's the only thing about him. Just, go there and toilet paper his house and leave. He came outside. I didn't even expect him to come outside. That's the first encounter we ever had.
Okay.
Since he's been out there.
Okay. So y'all get to the house, toilet paper, and he comes outside. This is where it's going to become really important. Why did he come outside?
Because he was there. And I guess people was on his lawn or some shit. And he came out there.
Who came out first, him or his girl?
His girlfriend.
Why did his girlfriend come out?
I'm not sure. I don't know why both of them came out. But it all makes sense though.
Well, tell me what makes sense.
I feel like his girlfriend was just upset and she was just so emotional. She just wanted to come outside and she wanted everything to be over. So they actually was trying to talk to us, but nobody was trying to comply.
What were they trying to say?
They basically was saying that we were there for no reason. He's a good person. He didn't do anything type stuff.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. I don't think we can say he didn't do anything, but
yeah, that's what she was saying. But there's a lot of things she said I don't really remember.
But I mean, I could see the argument that he's good. I know him well. I think he's a good guy as well. That's neither here nor there. I can understand why your perception isn't. I get that, right? But something very specific was happening to the U-Haul truck at the time she came out. And this is why it's very important for you to be honest with me to help build that level of credibility. What was happening to the U-Haul truck that brought her out to talk with people, but specifically you?
People was over there trying to set the tires on fire.
And what were you doing?
Was jumping on the car. I grabbed a stick and I grabbed the stick on the ground and I tried to flat the tires.
Okay.
Somebody told me to do it.
Who told you to do it?
I don't know. Honestly,
So it's unfortunate with these masks, you can't see my facial expression.
yeah, I know.
All right. Because I'm
I
going to
just
say,
know,
okay, so we'll circle back to that, because here's the thing. You ain't dumb. We've already established it. I know you ain't dumb. You've been rolling with this crew for a long time. you know who these people are. Now, if you don't want to tell me, that's fine. Then I would just prefer you say, I don't want to say. I'm okay with that. Well, no, but I would rather that than you say, I don't know, because I don't know makes it look like you are lying, right? Because you do know, and if you don't, I can respect the fact that you don't want to say, and that's cool. Well, yeah, not cool, but I think you get what I'm getting there. I don't want you to set up an opportunity for you to lie.
No, it's my first time doing a lot.
Well, but that's the whole thing, because, and here's the thing, eventually, this whole case is ultimately going to get reviewed by the DA's office. When they start from this, well, what do you say about so-and-so? Well, he says he didn't know that. And then they're like, well, wait a second here, Fawcett, they're going to say, no, bullshit, you have to get the charge.
I don't want to,
Fine. So we'll move on from that point. So at any rate, someone tells you to pick up a stick. And
no, I picked up a stick myself.
Someone just told you it's less than tires. Okay.
But I didn't do anything to her.
So it's kind of funny because when I was young, I hated hearing stupid shit from my parents. And I always made the point, I'm like, man, when I'm an adult, I'm not going to say that shit. And it's funny, now that I'm an adult, I say that shit, right? Because here, my mom's going to come up here for a moment, and I'm going to say, well, if everyone jumped off a bridge, would you?
I heard that.
You have, right? So you know what I'm getting at, right? You're a 20-year-old young man, no kids, you have a destination in your mind that you not only want to visit, but you want to get there, and you want to do it the right way by earning a living, right? By whether that's supporting BLM or branching off and getting your own clothing line. I mean, how cool would that be, right? And then maybe even doing some songs, editing, whether you're going to be a producer, whether you're going to be the artist itself. And here's the thing. Now, that all seems like it could be out of reach, right? I had a kid in here, had this, well, never mind. But anyway, so it's ultimately the question I asked him when we started going through things like, well, what would you need to achieve this? What would you need to achieve this? What would you need to achieve this? The biggest thing is going to be driving motivation, right? Sounds like that's there. So the question I'm going to ask is, when it comes to producing music, why can't that be you? Why can't one day that be you? Why can't it be? Right. You think you're going to get there if you keep getting wrapped up in stupid shit? If it comes to a clothing line, fine, maybe it doesn't matter. You're eventually going to have to go out and get loans to start growing your business. Do you think the banks are going to want to loan money to somebody who could potentially be a felon or somebody who continually gets arrested? Because an arrest record is something that other people are going to look at for credibility. It's like, oh yeah, man, this guy's got good plans. Holy shit, he's been arrested 15 different times. Guess what? Sorry. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and that's what I don't understand. All the guys that I talk to really ask, I don't think they're bad people. I think they're easily swayed by other people. Because that's the other ultimate question I have is, why can't that dream that you have, why can't it be you? Because the only person that's going to mess it up is you. But just the flip side is you're the only person that can make it happen too. Because what we'll talk about later as we go through. Do you think anyone's marching on the police department and doing a sit-in right now because we hooked up Breon Foster?
They can't.
Huh?
They can't come up here because
Well, but the point is, do you think, how about the street? Do you think anyone's lining the streets right now because you're here? Well, why not?
they don't know.
Well, they know you're here.
Not everybody.
Or maybe not everybody.
The thing is,
But the thing with People's Revolution, word spreads.
yeah.
So why aren't they here? Why aren't they trying to arrange for some type of bail for you?
They will. Someone's in trial. That's what I feel.
Maybe. How long did Ron sit in custody? Over a month. And David Bowen promised that he was going to pay his bail. He got a bail. His ass sit locked up for over a month. Guess who didn't pay his bail? Eventually, it took over a month. Are you willing to sit for over a month?
No.
I hope when this is all said and done, regardless of what happens, I hope that you understand, and it may seem out of reach right now, but these people are not your friends. These people are going to use you to do whatever they can to make their point known, and then when shit happens like this, like it did to Ron, like it did to Will, like it did to Niles, like it did to Hippie, and then, well, and then now over the last few nights, and then they're going to leave you. Yeah, big deal. So they can go and they can cause a stink at a police department and say, oh, we want them released. Well, they got released because it was a ticket. When it comes to charges with the bail, they're going to leave you. So I hope when this is all said and done, you truly reevaluate this and you truly set your sights on what you want to achieve, and know that these people aren't going to help you achieve it. Right? And we'll come full circle, because one of the guys I had said here very confidently, I'm a freedom fighter, I'm fighting for freedom. And I asked, what are you fighting for that you don't already have?
Just now?
Huh?
Just now?
Well, this was a few months ago. And he couldn't answer the question. It's like, so you're out there doing shit that's going to get you arrested, and you don't even know why, other than this is just what people are telling you to do. It's a problem for me. I don't get why people are so willing to throw their lives away for an organization that's proven that they don't give a shit about their people. They say they do, but they don't. You all have a state representative that would rather put out lies about shit rather than actually be legit, because here's the other thing that I've learned too. Everybody wants change. We'll come around to that, okay. Sure they did. How long did Ron sit?
Well, I feel like they low-key felt some type of way about Ron, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
They low-key felt some type of way about Ron, so I guess, he didn't want to have the shotgun, so.
Yeah, but it was also at the direction of the People's Revolution, well, one particular person, but still. He was still doing what he was told.
I think he wasn't doing it because he was told to do it. He just did it out of anger. That's what I think. He knows better than not walk up on a police officer with a shotgun.
So you say that, but members of the People's Revolution do that. Well, why would you need an open carry? Not you, but why would people need to open carry long guns? Why do people need to open carry handguns? It's all I hear. Every time we talk to someone, like, oh, protection. Someone threatened my life. Someone threatened my life. Man, that's bullshit. Because we have one person that's been kicked off of the People's Revolution by any nutshot that's out there. But yet, we got Ron showing up at Mensah's house trying to shoot him. I would say trying to kill him, even though he says he didn't try to kill him. That's what I'm going to say, because that's what it appears to me, because otherwise there is no reason for a mob of people to show up at his house and do anything to him, let alone try to kill him. We got another guy who's in the area of a house where one of our... Why are People's Revolution members going to the houses of Wauwatosa officers armed with guns? And it ain't protection. It's either to kill or at least intimidate. Otherwise, why else would you have guns?
Well, it wasn't our intention to... Well, he was the only one out there with guns, so that was his mistake.
Well, that isn't exactly... You're talking about Ron? It's not actually true, but...
Oh, well, yeah.
All right. But, and I'm so glad you said that. That wasn't your intention. Do you think facts are important? You may think so, but clearly the People's Revolution don't. You're out there, we don't have to talk about tonight because that was a separate conversation you had. But you were out there tonight with lighter fluid. My guess is you had to have some way to light it, I don't know. And you don't have to discuss it. All I'm trying to tell you is, what perception does that give someone? Right? If I'm just a regular old citizen and I'm being terrorized almost on a nightly basis by this people running from police, which is breaking the law, what does the average citizen look at that and say?
This is that person.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So, regardless of what the intention is, there's still the impact, which is the end result, right? Do you truly, truly, truly believe that there was a human being alive to kill those people? I'm not asking what.
This is how I actually truly believe it right now.
I appreciate that. He was put in some bad spots.
And how they portrayed it, like he a serial killer. So, I believe that.
And if he intended to kill people, if he wanted to do that, then yes, he would.
Are you really looking to Tony Gonzalez case for them, or Jay Anderson? I know about Alvin Cole, but the other two I didn't.
I'd be willing to bet you don't know the whole story on Alvin Cole. And if you want,
I already got it done.
and if we can get into it, because now that everything's, I can talk about specifics about stuff. I agree, right? And went and told a whole bunch of shit. Holy cow, this dude's an arsonist. What are you talking about? He had a lighter fluid on him. I'm sure he had a lighter, or he was going to get a lighter from one of the guys or gals that he was with. And he was walking around and doing all of this stuff. The organization is doing a Joe Mensah. They don't. But yet, they're to do until all of a sudden he stopped, and then that pissed the People's Revolution off, didn't it? And then now here we are, right? And you know what the worst part of this is? This all started because of Motley. Because Motley came in, I'm sure she told the family, I can get you money. You know? Because she told you all this, didn't she? What just happened? He was ruled justified. You think the family's getting money? You think Mensah's getting fired? You think Chief Webb was getting fired? And you know what the messed up thing is? You think this is the first time she's been involved in an officer use of force thing? She knows what they have to prove to whether or not they charge someone or not. And I tell you what, this is the most cleanest cut one of them all as far as justification goes. And she knew this. But that didn't stop her from coming and saying, hey, I can get you this. I can do this. Why do you think she did that?
It's for her own favor.
Sure, but what kind of favor? How does she benefit from it?
Money, I guess.
Money. Isn't that sick?
Yeah, money is real.
She's victimizing. Did you know that? I didn't know. None of this had to happen. But he chose it. And yet we got this attorney coming in and saying, promise her everything under the sun. Oh, doesn't that sound good? Oh, it sounds good. That sounds great. And then now it's all falling apart. Apparently, the Cole family must seem to think that since their son was victimized, they don't have to follow any laws. Because, let's face it, Talladega is going to be facing some serious charges too. Oh yeah, because she's got a lot of baggage, a lot of crimes that she's been committing. That we cases are so. Okay, getting back to this thing. So that night, so you got a stick. You're trying to let air out or get air out. Obviously, you can't cut the tire. So how are you trying to get the air out?
I unscrewed the air or whatever. And I stuck the stick up in the air.
So the valve stem, right? Just the little pin.
Yeah, and then she came out, and then that's when she had her hands on me and then I was back.
She like pushed you back or something.
Yeah, she pushed me back.
Do you think she's justified in doing that?
I guess.
Hell yeah, she was justified in doing that. If I was doing that to your car, would you just stand and let me do that? Hell no, you ain't gonna do that, right? She pushed you, and then what did the crowd do? What did the crowd do to her? And then what happened? Well, who came out? Once the crowd surrounded her, who came out? Don't you think he's justified in doing that? Because what's he thinking is going on?
He thinking somebody, he think his girlfriend's trying to get beat up, so that's what he came out.
And then what happened? He came out and then what?
Yeah, exactly.
Who's they?
People that are listening.
Who?
So many people that remember. I know I ain't doing that.
Okay. So who?
Pretty sure you already know.
So who? But there's a whole credibility thing here.
I don't want to give names though, but
That's fine. I was waiting to see if you're gonna do that.
yeah,
I don't know.
I just say like people to remember. So.
What happened to the bullhorn that was let me back on? What was the bullhorn used for when Mensah was out back? How so? You got hit, is it? What did that do to the bullhorn?
You damaged it. So,
Where did that damaged bullhorn go?
I don't know.
No?
I don't have like access to the bullhorns and everything, so I never got.
Okay, we'll get there. Where were you when Ron let that shot off?
I was standing on the side.
Side where? Side of the house? Side of my house?
Like right in front of the U-Haul truck.
So you're still in the alley?
Yeah, just looking around, watching everybody.
Did you see?
I heard it go off.
Okay, did you see them running when it went off?
Yeah.
What
I seen Ron walking up to him too.
So what was going on with Ron and Mensah?
Tussling.
Were they tussling?
Yeah.
It was really important. Were they tussling?
Tussling. Everybody seen it.
Were they on the stoop or on the ground?
They was on the ground first, and they happened to like go towards the door.
So this is where it's really important. Yes, I agree they were tussling in the beginning. But when they started to go up the stoop, I don't believe tussling was going on no more. That was him getting in the house and it was Ron letting the blast off behind him. So I want you to think very clearly and tell me what happened.
I didn't see that part.
You just told me you did.
No, I didn't. I said, I'm just saying, I seen them tussling, but you know, I was looking around with everybody and everything. Then I heard the gun go off. So I didn't even.
Okay.
You know,
So when you heard the gun go off,
that's when I looked.
and then what'd you see?
And I just seen the window shattered. I seen Joseph Mensah running in the house. He closed the door.
What did Ron do with the gun after that?
He walked off, I guess.
And gave it to who?
He put it in the car.
You saw him put it in the car or you heard?
I guess he put it in the car.
Okay.
I wasn't really paying attention to him. After the gun went off, I don't know if you seen me on video, but I ran back to the car and then we went home.
Well, you didn't go home. You didn't go home right away. The group didn't go home right away.
I went home.
How'd you get there?
Myself went home. This white girl took me home.
Who?
Just Jackie.
Boogan, really long name.
Brookenberg, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Boogan.
Took me home.
Who arrested her tonight?
For real?
Yeah. So she took you right home?
Yeah, she took me around straight home.
So you weren't with the group when they left and stopped and Coleman gave a very... Okay, well that would explain why you don't know where the bullhorn is. That's saying what the deuce. Okay. Sorry, this is... Okay.
So it's a couple of TPR people around there.
We'll talk more about that later. So they're tussling, and the shot goes off. And then after that, Jackie took you right home.
Yeah, everybody was running, they was scared. So she told me, after the shot went off, maybe like 5 or 10 seconds later, maybe 30, she told me to come on. And I just went over there and got in the car. I did a great thing. I was going to stay out there.
Well, I appreciate that at that point you did the right thing. If you look back, is there anything else you would have done differently?
Yeah.
If not, I mean, that's fine. I'm telling you. I'm curious.
I should have like not did that to the car. Or attempt to.
You do realize that everything that happened that evening, once you started with the tire, everything that happened that evening, Mensah getting battered by the group, the girlfriend being involved in there, although the one credit I'll give is...
So I was the cause of you think?
Absolutely, positively, 100%. You are the cause, you are the reason that Mensah almost was killed that night.
No, the attention was already on. They was targeting me anyways.
I agree.
He was already outside, so.
I agree, but let's back it up a bit. What brought the girlfriend to you?
Everybody was by the car.
What brought her to you?
I'm flooding tires.
And what brought Mensah out of the house or towards the group?
People thought, actually, before he came out, she came out towards me, whatever. She pushed me, and there was a couple of people by me. That's when I backed up. So
you backed up, and then the group surrounded her.
Yeah.
Right. And what made him come out? Because they thought they were going to deliver an ass whooping to her, right? So now back that up a bit. If you weren't messing with that tire, does that bring her out to come and confront you? So think bigger picture. Who is the cause of the ass whooping that Joe Mensah took that night and almost losing his life? Because otherwise his ass would have stayed in that house.
People got to control their emotions.
I'm so glad you said that. You're absolutely right. Well, hold on. We'll come back to that. You're absolutely right. People need to control their emotions. There was some crazy lady on that bullhorn talking about how they're going to shoot his dog. I know why. I get it because he let the dog out, but which apparently the dog was super scared of its own shadow and they had to take it back in anyway. But
he let the dog loose just to try to have the dog attack us.
Sure. Don't you think he can do that? Is he not on his own property?
Yes.
And are you all not trespassing on his property?
Yeah.
Trying to vandalize his property? Why is it that Joseph Mensah doesn't have any rights?
He does.
Does he? Isn't that how the People's Revolution is acting? There's never been more disrespect, more vile, more crazy stuff hurled at officers tonight. Y'all are throwing rocks, glass bottles and shit like that at us tonight.
Hey, no.
You're part of them, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that you make the distinction, they, not me, right? How many people do you think I've killed?
I'm not sure.
What do you think?
0?
0. But yet, People's Revolution had no problem throwing rocks and bottles at me. I didn't do shit. But yet my family's got to worry about my safety and whether or not I come home because some jackasses that want to form some bullshit group called the People's Revolution think it's okay to try to kill cops. Because not only did they go to Mensah's house and try to kill him, they went to another detective's house with a loaded gun. Granted, we picked him off early, but now,
It was out there.
But now afterwards, think bigger picture and remember, think perception. What does it look like the People's Revolution is trying to do? Attacking the officers. right? You're a member of the People's Revolution. Are you okay with me charging you with all the crimes of the People's Revolution?
No.
Then why is it okay for the People's Revolution to attack all officers because of a misunderstanding they have about
To
law?
be honest, I don't really like accept what they be doing because they're not doing anything out of it.
But
Every time doing civil disobedience, I pay them back.
But with all due respect, you're still with them.
Yeah, I know.
You're with them. You know, I suppose you can call it guilt by association, but you're with them. You had a direct hand in what happened at Mensah's house. Whether you intended or not, you had a direct hand in what happened that night. What if you ended up dead? Would y'all be happy? Well, I know actually most of you would be. Would you be happy? But now do you understand how one can make the argument that you had a direct hand in the events of that night?
If I didn't cause, I apologize for all that.
It's the end goal. He ain't getting fired. Chief Weber ain't getting fired. For as much as the common council and mayor are trying, the citizens are finally now standing up. We ain't getting shut down. What is the end goal of the People's Revolution? Why y'all keep coming back? Why y'all keep coming and terrorizing us?
I think we had a false leader.
Who's that false leader? Who's a false organizer?
There's not even a leader. It's like there's more than one.
Well, there's a leader. There is a leader. There's the founder.
Yeah.
And then you got a bunch of people who are what we would call core members, one of which we got in custody
I
a
know.
couple weeks ago, which you're aware of.
Yeah.
So who's the false leader? Because if he's false and if he's leading you all wrong, there's no reason for you to have. Yeah, but there's no reason for you to have love for him and trying to protect him. If he's the cause of all the problems that's going on right now, I don't see why you wouldn't roll on him. We know, I know who it is. I'm looking to see if you'll tell me who it is. And if not, fine. But then the question would be, why is he worthy of your protection? I get the other people that maybe they're put up to it.
The thing is, whenever somebody gets arrested, you always leave them.
Exactly. And what do you think he's going to do to you?
He probably will, but I don't think everybody else will. I got too much love out there for certain people.
Okay. So the guy that's got no love for you, who's the leader? What's that? Well, who? Coleman. How has he got all these people under his spell? I mean, we've arrested, what, 30, 40 people in the last couple nights? 30, 40 people are willing to get arrested for this asshole. Why?
We haven't got arrested yet, have we?
Nope.
How come?
Because he has the people doing his dirty work. Think about it. Is that not the most perfect setup in the world? To make it look like you've got something going on, to make it look like you're somebody, and we say, hey, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. Niles, I need you to bring the gun. Niles, give the gun to Ron. And then what happens when shit goes bad?
I think that decision was between them two.
I heard otherwise, but even still, what happened when things went bad? I don't mean any disrespect to any of the other guys we talked to, but I will tell you this, I think you're the smartest one that I've talked to so far. Ron, nice enough guy, but I'm trying to find a good way to say this. he's not gonna someday own his own clothing line or be a music producer. How's that? You picking up what I'm putting down? Am I right? Niles had a
You
great
don't have
time.
the type of knowledge.
Huh?
You don't have the type of knowledge.
Well, does he have any knowledge?
No.
Niles, nice enough kid when I talked to him. You know what he wants to do? Or what he wanted to do? He wanted to be a historian on ancient civilizations, specifically the Egyptian. It was amazing talking to him. It was like he was an encyclopedia about Egyptian knowledge or civilization. But you also see that it's easily swayed.
Right.
And what did Coleman do to him? Oh, okay, don't get me wrong. He still got him back and doing the same bullshit stuff, which he's going to get Niles arrested because Niles is openly carrying a handgun. Niles can't have any contact with any handgun, so Niles' ass is going to get arrested for bail jumping. What spell does Coleman have over everybody that they're willing to throw their lives away to do whatever this guy says?
I was going to get arrested again.
Yep. Yep, because I'm going to send the charges down for bail jumping.
So what you say after that?
What is it that Coleman's got? How does Coleman have everybody under his spell that gets people to do stupid shit for him?
I don't really know, to be honest. I feel like people just look at him as somebody to look up to. So I don't really have too many conversations with him.
All right. So let me ask you this, being as you're willing to tell me that, you truly think that he was misleading people as is right now, you got no love for him. Who hit Mensah with the bullhorn?
I don't want to say his name.
Hmm?
I know who it is, but I don't want to say it.
Well, I know who it is too.
Yeah, I know you do.
So I'm curious to know why you wouldn't say his name now, but you're willing to say his name 15 seconds ago.
You know, him writing the being calendar, so.
And you don't know what Cole did with that bullhorn after he hit Mensah. Okay. What is Talabia doing at Mensah's house?
Who?
Talabia.
Calabia?
To Cole.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
I guess she was there because
No. I understand why she was there. I'm saying, what was she doing there?
I wasn't really paying attention to her.
Did you get any shots in on Joe? On Mensah?
He was aggressive, angry. His brother was trying to fight us, but he just walked off. Type stuff. He was saying a lot of things, but he walked off. And Joseph Mensah, he tried to spot other people. So yeah, I don't have you looking at anything. Got trays and stuff. Brown skin. Muscular.
Yeah, that's my question.
What's your question?
Did you get a shot in on Mensah?
No.
Sure about that?
I don't really remember if I did. I'm telling you the truth.
Okay, here's the
You
thing.
can show me the video, man.
See, that's what everyone wants to do that. And I know why people want to do that. People try to put so much stock in evidence in video. Well, show me the video, show me the video. The video doesn't change whether or not something happened or not, right? So when people say when they want to see the video, they don't want to, well, refresh my memory, they want to see what we have so they can now shape their statement based off the video. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So whether I show you the video or not is immaterial to whether or not you got a shot in on him. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't matter what the video shows. What matters is what happened.
Okay. I'm not sure of the question. That's why I said I know I didn't hit him. But
You didn't hit him.
no. In my mind, I wanted to hit his wife, but at the same time, I did.
Of everybody you wanted to hit his wife?
Yeah, but I just got emails, so I'm not going to do that.
Is that you're mad because she pushed you? Is that what it was? Okay. But you didn't hit Mensah.
No, I didn't hit him. It was so many people over there. So why would I put myself in that position for me to hit him when there's already people over there?
Well, why would you put yourself in that position, period?
I don't know.
At what point along the line did you learn you were going to Mensah's house?
that target.
Who told you?
Everybody just knew. So,
Not everybody knew, but
somebody was just shouting it out or whatever. And then we just started trying to.
Who was David Bowen when you were letting that hair out of tire?
Nowhere around. In this car factory. It all makes sense.
What is it? Okay, so I was asking what spell Carell has over people. What spell does Bowen have over people if people are constantly willing to lie for him? Because there is video of Bowen being right there.
Who was there?
He was right fucking there. He was about 15 feet away.
Was it next to you?
I don't know, because that particular video is blurry.
It was a few people out there, so I don't even, he probably was, I don't know.
He was like 15 feet away. In fact, when Mensah gets hit with the bullhorn, you see on video, his face go, oh, and you see his mouth come open. He goes, oh, so he was there. He saw what happened. And did you hear the statement that he put out a couple days after that? Did you hear it? Did you hear what he said in the statement?
I didn't even look into it. What did he say?
What bullshit. That you all were peaceful, that no one did anything. The only person that was aggressive was Mensah. In fact, it was so full of shit that my partner and I read it to Ron.
Yeah.
Twice, Ron laughed and then said, man, that's bullshit. It's got to be pretty bad when the shooter himself goes in. That didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? And now we know, we didn't know that, but now we know he was right there when it all went down. So I'm curious, and maybe you don't know this because I suppose the only one that can answer is Bowen. Why would he intentionally put out a false statement? Because he lied through his teeth on that statement. So why would he lie? To protect the people. Why would the people need protection? So they wouldn't get arrested, so they wouldn't look bad, right? So let me ask you this. So you mentioned something about Mensah was out there, he was like squaring off and stuff, right? Is that wrong?
No.
Why wasn't it wrong for him to do that?
He had the right to do so.
Why?
He was on his property. So,
I'm sorry, who was on his property?
we.
Okay, yeah. The group was on his property. I'm sorry, I didn't hear. The group was on his property. So he had, you said, every right to do so.
Yeah.
And the People's Revolution beat his ass for it. And tried to kill him. Perception-wise, right? Perception-wise. That's all I'm saying, perception-wise, right? I'll be honest with you, I don't think Ron intended to kill him. I really don't. I think it's a mixture of Ron's not well-versed with guns. He's kind of sort of an idiot. And he's very, very hot-headed. Not as hot-headed as Will, but he's very, very hot-headed.
Will crazy.
So, I don't think he intended to kill him. I don't know if it was his intention to scare him or what, but that's dumb.
Really dumb as fuck. If he never had that gun out the car, things would have been different.
Well, but that's the thing. Why take it out at all? Because that's why I'm saying People's Revolution can't claim they're carrying guns for protection. Because the only time we've seen guns being used is the People's Revolution attacking Mensah. And then Percy showing up at the detective's house with a loaded gun. And then fighting with officers because he didn't want to be arrested even though he was supposed to have one. That's stupid too. Of course, trying to run away isn't a good idea either, but I appreciate you not fighting and stuff like that because that would have been bad.
Yeah.
So now I get it.
Was scared or whatever, so.
Well, it should have been there to begin with. Right? End of the day, it should have been there to begin with. So, okay. Trying to think of what else. So, now you said you never laid a hand on Mensah. So that night, Mensah came here. I took photographs of his injuries because he had injuries. and I took DNA swabs of all the injuries, because whoever punched him, there's a chance their DNA was on him. So I took DNA off of him. So you're telling me you never punched him?
No DNA was on him?
No, I'm asking. You're telling me you never punched him. I don't know, because I don't have your DNA to match up to it. So are you willing to give me a sample of your DNA to confirm that it doesn't match with any of the DNA on him?
Yeah.
Okay. Because of course, like everything, there's a second form we gotta go over. That I do gotta write on.
But I know for sure I remember I didn't use it.
Because you were kind of unsure before. And that's why I was chuckling, because how often do you show up at police officers' houses with groups of people trying to kill them? It's happened more than once?
Well, no. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Because some days I don't be there every day.
Okay, how often have you shown up at an officer's house with a group that tried to kill him?
One time.
How often have you showed up at an officer's house when a group beat the shit out of him? Okay, so the point I'm getting at is, if it's only happened once, it should stick out in your memory as something pretty big, right? What was the discussion about?
You want to give a DNA because there was just other people around, right?
I want to get the DNA so I can find out who hit him.
Okay.
Shoot, I don't think I have any of those forms now. I have to go get one. It's crazy how many. I have to go get one of those forms. I'll look at that a little bit. Here. Of course, I have everything else that I need. Okay, so yeah, it takes like 23 seconds. It's not. So okay, so we're handling it. So you didn't do that. You weren't with the group when they left. Okay, is there anything that you've told me that isn't true?
Everything I told you was true.
Okay, so that being said, I'm gonna say it another way. Is there ever going to be a chance that I come back and I say, hey, remember you told me this? Well, it actually is this. You know what I'm saying? Is there ever a chance that you're going to change the story or change anything that you just told me? Everything you told me is absolutely 100% factual. Okay. How many more times are you going to be rolling with people in Revolution?
I told myself today that I wasn't coming out. Right before I got hurt, I wasn't coming out.
Well, but unfortunately, the perception is that you clearly had a pretty bad plan in mind. It's a perception, right? Because carrying lighter fluid
Wasn't lost.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I never had intention to using it. I was holding it for somebody.
How do I know that?
I'm telling you.
I
There
appreciate
wasn't
that.
no fire started,
I
right?
appreciate that. Well, we actually were, the reason we went to, were you one of the groups that was pushing the dumpsters at us? On the fever?
Yeah, that was me. I was one of them. So,
Jackass, why are you doing that? That wasn't nice.
no, it was just blocking the traffic. Trying to
Why?
That was an idea.
Did you try to light a fire before that?
No.
Because the reason we went there, otherwise we would have been no lights and sirens. The reason we went there with lights and sirens, because we were dispatched there because somebody saw smoke coming from Lefebvre and North, which is where that was.
That wasn't me.
I'm just telling you, that's why we're going there.
Yeah.
And then that's why all of a sudden now we get somebody, holy shit, he's got lighter fluid on him. It's like, okay, this dude's trying to start a fire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This dude's trying to burn up the city.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So ultimately, when it comes down to it, what the hell were you doing carrying lighter fluid?
I was caring for somebody. That's it.
Who?
It's a code name, so I don't really discuss the name. There's a lot of people out there that don't really know their names.
So you're willing to take a rap for a potential arson for someone that you don't know? All right, so who was it?
It's code names. That's what I'm telling you.
Who? There's a lot of Coles.
They call him C or 10.
Huh?
They call him C, but sometimes call him 10.
C or 10.
Yeah.
So his name is Cole.
No, I'm saying they call him C.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. Remember I said the whole thing?
Yeah.
C or 10? Is he a normal People's Revolution guy?
He beat her sometimes, but not all the time. Actually.
White guy, black guy? Old or young?
Like mid-20s.
Okay. Have you ever carrying a gun in the group?
Yeah.
You got your CCW? Are you holding carrying?
Yes.
Okay. Were you holding carrying yesterday?
Yes.
Who were you riding with yesterday?
Who was riding?
Yeah.
My girlfriend.
You don't have a girlfriend. You have a girl.
I mean, not my girlfriend, but some girl I talked to, Crystal.
Is that the girl that you talked to, that you were seeing before that you talked to, or you got a bunch you're talking to?
Crystal. That's a girl.
Crystal's the one you're talking to. She wears black.
Mexican.
Okay. Is that how you left yesterday, was Crystal?
Yes.
Because you weren't in the group that we hooked up, you know, when the Colts got hooked up. Were you riding with Hippie yesterday at all?
No.
You know who was?
We pulled up to West Allis Police Department. It was him, some little boy in the front seat, and it was somebody in the back there in the tail.
Was Niles with him?
No, Niles, he was at work. He left at work after he went to work after he left the protest.
And I say, because he was there yesterday. When did he leave then?
I think he left when everybody got dispersed over there on 68th and North, I think was that.
Okay. Where does he work?
I'm not sure.
It was with MPS. Like the Park and Rec guy, but I don't know what he's doing now.
He worked at some type of bar.
Bar? Okay. So when did you leave yesterday?
We left from West Allis and we went to Wauwatosa. And I left maybe like around 1:30.
When did you leave Wauwatosa?
Tosa?
Yeah.
Shit.
Were you and Crystal driving around with the group for a while, going by the mayor's house and shit?
No.
Okay.
I left Wauwatosa like around maybe 10:50 or whatever. Then we were just driving around and walking.
Okay. You know, there's a curfew in the city of Wauwatosa, right?
Yeah.
Why are you here in violation of the curfew?
Does it do with the people?
Well, that's going to cost you $1,500.
Yeah, I know.
Well, let me ask you this before I pull this out here. You said before if you had any part in leading to Mensah getting his ass beat and almost killed, that you were sorry for it, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Are you sorry not to write him a letter?
Yeah, I already know.
I'm going to go get that form that I told you I needed to get. So give me a couple minutes. I'll be right back. In the meantime, if you want to write that letter, I have to lock this door because technically you're in custody, but you know, I'm going to say that I won't be that long. All right. It would probably be a good idea to be descriptive, you know, because if you just say, I'm sorry for the stuff that I did, well, how sorry is that? You know what I'm saying? Right? Yeah. All right, give me a second. I'll be right back. One second, one more. God, I just like myself in.
I'm the first person to write you a letter, right?
Nope.
I was writing.
No. I will, just not right now. So out of curiosity, how was he with Niles and Ron and Will and everybody? Huh?
He wasn't trusting.
But he still let him back in and let him hang out?
He actually, people come as their own person, so.
You mean to tell me he wouldn't say like, dude,
If you don't tell them to come out there, they just come whenever they want to. So,
but he would never tell these guys to wait, we don't want you here. If it helps at all, it's the 10th today.
okay.
I noticed Drew isn't around as much as he once was before. Did it rattle him that he got arrested? Yeah. So is he not coming around much?
No.
Well, let me ask you this. Why?
People call him the feds.
Huh?
People call him the feds.
The feds?
Yeah, they call him the police.
Why?
Because of the video.
What video?
The video,
When he's getting hooked up?
Yeah.
Why would they call him the feds?
because mostly all the documents is on his phone.
Oh, because he was like careless with the shit he was filming and stuff? Well, I'll be honest, it really was not that big a deal. And out of everybody, he's the only one that really didn't talk. I mean, like, it didn't matter. I mean, it's because it was really violent. And then by all means, if you want to read it, that's fine too. It's the Wauwatosa Police Department authorization form. I do hereby consent to give buccal swab, which is an oral swab, which will be obtained by Detective Joe Lewandowski of the Wauwatosa Police Department. I realize these samples will be examined by an authorized representative of the Wisconsin State Crime Lab. I have had the collection procedure explained to me by Detective Joe Lewandowski, and I understand that I do not have to submit to the collection of said samples, and I do so knowingly and voluntarily. I further state that no threats, force, or physical or mental coercion has been done to me, and I have not been promised food, drink, or medical attention to consent to this form dated the 10th of October 2020. If you're willing, if you can sign by the act, but by all means, feel free to read it if you're not convinced that or just even if you want to. And then you print your name and then fill in your date of birth. And then if you want to keep the pen and finish your letter unless you're done. Okay. Is it okay if I sign my name on the bottom of this form, like in the corner, just as a witness? Yeah. I need that one.
So how long is the results?
They take like 3 weeks, but that's once they get sent in there. I'm not entirely sure that it's going to get sent right away because the crime lab has rules on how many things we can send at any one time. So, and then of course it fits around with each of those things. So it's not going to be going anytime soon. Oh, so it also says procedure. I mean, have you open your mouth, I'm just going to rub this up on the inside cheek. You see it a couple times, so that's all. Is there anything that you are now remembering you want to discuss at all about that night at Mensah's that you want me to know that we didn't talk about?
So far, everything been discussed.
No.
So far, everything's been discussed.
Everything has been discussed?
Yeah. Unless you got any more questions to ask me.
Well, I do, but then it starts to get into the realm of what you already said you really don't want to answer. Because we've done a lot of work in trying to ID people and their involvement in their roles and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not going to answer, I'm not going to bother asking. Is it okay if I read it? All right, so bring up Officer Joseph Mensah. I was the guy who tried to flatten the U-Haul truck, and I'm truly sorry for that. I wasn't thinking straight. Too busy, caught up in the moment. Now I can only tell you that I wasn't the guy who tried to harm you. I honestly shouldn't have been there that night, and hoping that you will forgive me. All right. What if he were to tell you to screw off?
I don't think you would.
Why not? What's that? Well, he does. Much more than at least most of the members of the People's Revolution. Maybe the hardest thing that anyone ever has to deal with is taking a life. No one wants to do that. No one wants to do that. Those guys put him in bad spots. And here we are. Okay, if you have no questions for me, then we can head back over should be, I would imagine soon. I can't imagine it's gonna be very long. It wouldn't have been earlier before now, only because we were so busy with the stuff going on out there. So after that calms down a little bit, I would be willing to bet it'll be soon.
Don't face those previous charges or
Well, it ain't good. It ain't good. It's, I'll double check your sheet. I think one of the charges is resisting arrest causing injury because one of the officers got hurt taking, and not the major, scrapes and stuff, but any injury makes your resisting arrest a felony. So it ain't good. Now that doesn't mean that that's ultimately what you get charged with, because there's a difference between getting charged and what it gets sent down on. You know what I mean? Because charging isn't up to us. We fill out forms saying you should charge him with this, but that goes to the DA's office, and the DA's office determines what ultimately gets charged, not us. All right, you go with me?